Well, the city of South Padre Island continues with plans to stop beach erosion. It is at its worst during the winter. Channel 5 Cecilia Gutierrez joins us with more on the changes a shoreline can go through.
South Padre Island officials tell us as the seasons change, the beach does too. The more cold fronts the valley gets, the less and less beach you'll see. Bob and Nancy Bumgardner visit South Padre Island in the winter every year. The Bumgardners say every year they start to see less and less beach in the winter.
When it gets real narrow, like against the dunes up here, then it gets narrow and you kind of have to squeeze through.
They say they've seen the beach get so narrow, officials had to bring in sand from other places.
They've got the line running from here to the other end. We used to have to crawl over it.
And you just have to do something rather than let them go away.
South Padre Island Shoreline Director Brandon Hill says this time of year you'll notice more dramatic changes in the beach erosion through what's called winter beach.
It means that during the winter, the winds increase, the wave energy increases, and so that means that our beach is actually going to get a little bit more shallow. It's going to become a more drastic angle from the dunes to the water.
He says every year after the first front is forecasted to come through the valley, they start to keep an eagle eye on the shoreline as the beach becomes more narrow and starts eating away at the sand dunes. Hill says even though he's always worried about beach erosion, there are ways to prevent the erosion before it becomes extreme. One of those ways is dredging.
And that material will also act as a wave attenuant, meaning that it'll absorb some wave energy so that we don't have to.
Another way to prevent erosion from winter beach is by keeping the dunes healthy.
Unlike other places in the Texas or Gulf Coast, they're the only protection that we have. There is no seawall here, so we're dependent on our dunes to protect us from storm surge.
He says the only way to keep the dunes healthy is to put different plants on them.
You're essentially building a biological rebar. It's just like those steel bars that you see in concrete.
And keep people off of them. Recently, the city of South Padre Island purchased over $100,000 of Moby pads so people will stay off the dunes.
In order to have a strong dune, you need people's feet off of the vegetation.
He says people should keep an eye out for extreme erosion on the beaches for the next couple of months, especially since more fronts are forecasted to enter the area as winter approaches. Hill says once those cold fronts stop, you'll see a wider beach. He says that's when South Padre Island officials will go out onto the beaches and see what kind of erosion happened during the winter beach. At South Padre Island, Cecilia Gutierrez, Channel 5 News at 6.
There is a meeting this Thursday at the Port Isabella Cultural Event Center from 5:30 to 9 p.m. for anyone interested on the plans for beach erosion. The Coastal Texas Study held by U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the General Land Office. That meeting will go over a statewide study that includes erosion on beaches and the possibility of beach flooding.
The reason that people should care about this is that this plan will spend billions of dollars of the federal government's money, and some of it will be put to use right here on South Padre Island.
South Padre Island Shoreline Director, you just heard from him, Brandon Hill, says the meeting will also go over the possibility of the Army Corps of Engineers rebuilding sand dunes on the beaches up to 12 feet tall to combat the possibility of storm surge.